ever been stuck on a desert island and started wondering what really matters to you in life? Neither have I. It's more likely you have been working way too hard, just merely existing, to even have time to follow questionable spiritual tips about existential topics from random people on social media. I've got you. I have been using myself as some kind of messed up science experiment in order to nut out from my own self-experimentation and many dead ends, a few ways to figure out what your life values might be without turning your brain into a dog's breakfast. So what are life values? They're basically a personal heck yeah list that guide you through life decisions. If you don't instantly have a yes in response to something, then it's a no.
You want to go out late and hit the clubs tonight?
If you hesitate, it is a no. If you can't decide, it is a no. So great, how the heck do we figure out our values? Pick from a list. I've popped a list below to start with so you can just circle the values that resonate with you. There's no catch to this, I'm not selling you a course, it's literally a list of values. The pick from a list method is really good for beginners because you just haven't been around long enough to gather all the necessary experience to feel the deep pain and sorrow. Understanding that you get from being exposed to the weird stuff in life. The pick from a list method is also great when you're feeling lazy and you just want to sit there and circle things and not think too much, like you did in school when there was multi-guess answers, except this time picking your answers has real life consequences, so just throwing that out there. Choose wisely. It's also a great clarifying tool because sometimes you just want to check in, double check that you still have the same kind of values as you did, say, 5-10 years ago, because you often need to reflect and challenge your own choices, and it's a good way to just quickly find out, do I still value being an absolute jerk? It's then easy to rank from the most important to least important and just circle your top 3. It's no biggie, you can swap them out and swap them over anytime. This is not a hard and done for the rest of your life list. So then those top 3 values will help guide your life decisions so that when you come up with a problem in life, like, oh my gosh, I really want to eat Cheetos for dinner. So then you dutifully go back to your list and figure out, is this a choice that's reflecting the values in my life? Oh no, clearly it isn't, but I'm going to sit on the couch and eat Cheetos anyway and feel absolutely guilty rather than actually enjoying them. Personally, one of my top values is freedom. I love autonomy, I love choices, and that means money is one of the ways in which you can obtain freedom. Right now where I live, like when I was in Australia, I walk everywhere. I sold my car over 20 years ago and I don't have any intention of buying another car for a long time so long as I live close to where I work and I can effectively walk almost anywhere that I need to or catch transport. It's also very good exercise. Most of the time I walk, except when the temperature nears around 35-40 degrees and it's about to head around 50 degrees very soon. It's insane. And I will take something called the community bus. Is it fancy? Heck no, but my bank account has a chance of getting fancy because I've lowered my standards. Honestly, the bus is fine. It has air conditioning, it is clean, it is safe, it is fast, I don't have to stress, and if things did go bad and we did have a collision, the bus would be like, what was that? I think it was a Mini Cooper. Plus, there's also the benefit walking and taking communal transport gives me a plethora of stories to share with you. Do I have some stories? Because if I had a private car and I didn't have the opportunity of mixing with the peasants, then life would be pretty dull and I wouldn't have that solid material for imagination. The second way I found helpful in figuring out my life values is life will let you know. This one takes time and it means going out in the world and trying different things and taking on different challenges and figuring it out. By going out and trying a whole pile of things, you will find out way quicker and sometimes painfully quicker than you would if you just stayed at home, read a book, tried to understand in your head, but didn't actually just go out there and figure it out. Now, you don't have to actually go out there looking for challenges. They will come to you. You just have to go out and mingle in the world. Life will give you these experiences to figure out your values in a consistent, custom-made, relentless way. It's wonderful because you get endless opportunities to figure this stuff out, especially when you're young.
You look lovely today.
Oh, thank you. That's really nice of you. I was having a bit of a hard day today.
Got a dead lizard down my pants.
So in that whole scenario there, what did you learn? Oh, right, I have to actually watch people's behavior and not what they say. Their words are empty. That teaches you start to value honesty and candor and people meaning what they say, saying what they mean, and not being mean about what they say. I need to find out who said that. That's a really good sentiment. You will meet people, be in situations, have jobs that will really test your limits. This is good, I keep saying to myself, because it teaches you where your no line is. And what other area of life do we find this the most interesting way to learn than the arena of dating? Yes, I say the word arena because it feels like a gladiator battle sometimes. I honestly don't know how people date anymore. I have never used a dating app in my life. Except when I was creating that comedy series Vikings Now, I had to download Tinder to actually know what I was talking about for a sketch in the comedy show.
So in today's world, you can meet girls on your phone.
Does my butt look big?
No?
Of course it does. This is a rump fit for the gods.
I don't know how everyone's... The continuation of the human race. I don't know how to phrase this. I do in my head, but, not one to shy away from technology at all. It's just in the social arena, I find it a little bit... I like in person, real life awkward, not online awkward. I'd rather just be physically there feeling awkward. I genuinely feel the struggle for people using these apps. It's hard. It is like... Anyway, long story short, I tried out some of these apps because it gives you lots of stories and understanding and the struggles that people are really facing. I don't even use a VPN. I went to the bank and had to install the banking app, and the guy asked me, do you have a VPN? No, I'm pretty sure that everything about me is probably on the internet by now, thanks to Australian medical insurance data breach. Pretty sure that Russia has my taxon number and my email address and something else on the dark web, and the US definitely has my DNA. I just hope that they clone me to keep making YouTube videos, because that would be a real weight off, and they can do my editing for me. That would be sweet. Thank you. They're gonna soon realize that there's no point in me having a VPN. They can just track my history, be looking at my Saturday night searches like focaccia bread recipe. Oh, she has an exciting life, this one, better monitor her. How you kids, including older kids, do this stuff online is like, my hat is off to you. It takes bravery, it takes courage to show up when you don't even know somebody. They're just some pixels on the internet. How do you even know they're real? I feel like dating someone pre-social media is like getting the last chopper out of Nam. You know what I mean? Communication skills and not running away from each other is what's needed. I've got to say though, some of the pickup lines on people's bios are so good. I'm going to read some lines in an appropriate robot voice so you can add your own interpretation and inflection and perception of how you wish to receive these sentences. Here we go. Looking for a Times New Roman in the streets and a wingding in the sheets. I kept thinking about wingdings like hot wings, and then I imagined hot wings being in a sheet, and I'm like, that's gonna get messy and stained. Looky, looky, I know you're a rookie. I want to eat your cookie. Good thing I'm not baking. If they were going for memorable, they've nailed it, but it's all alluding to a home run, if you know what I mean. Dude, the stats of dating look dreadful. There's a podcast I recently watched, this woman who's one of the directors at Hinge. It ends up being a guy has to swipe 1,000 times to have a coffee date with a woman. 1,000 times to get one successful coffee. There's no wingdings or cookies happening until hell freezes over by those metrics, and that's in a Western country. So I quickly learned that I don't want to stay on apps. Have a decent profile, give decent information that's actually going to help someone work out whether you're somebody who's compatible. Get off the app as soon as possible, after a few messages. None of this 5 weeks of texting. What are we here for? What? You want to see demonstrations of excellence, and that happens in person. How do we go about showing each other how good we are as a person and that we're a real catch? I mean, it's definitely not taking a selfie in the toilet with loads of filters on it and then putting all these limitation options on your setting. Why would you even touch the height filter? Being a good person doesn't have a height limit. One of the directors on Hinge talks about the data. Her name is Logan Ury, and she said that many women in the US are struggling to find people because they have a minimum requirement of 6 foot on the app for finding somebody. But the data then shows that only 14% of men are 6 foot or taller. Why on this green earth would you cut off most of the matches you could potentially make? Besides, people can shrink with age. What are you going to do when you're 70? You're like, I'm going to have to trade you in. You lost 2 inches. For all you shorter people, it is not you. Please stay strong out there. In fact, I have the kind of opposite issue. Like, people have said to me that they don't approach me because I'm apparently impossibly tall for a woman. Except for Latin Americans, they never seem to have an issue. See, courage is a much valued quality. Courage is wonderful. Do not let the world beat that out of you. So that's one area where you definitely can find your values and what you stand for. Now, as for the working world and getting a job, there are no shortage of companies and people and employers who are willing to take complete advantage of you at bargain basement prices. And this is good because you learn how to say no and grow a backbone and stand up for yourself. When you give the forks and leave your job, you might be broke for a while and slightly panicking, but you will have built something called resilience and something called self-esteem and standing up for yourself that is valuable. It's the foundation for your self-confidence. It is worth gold. The alternative is to cave in, be afraid to speak up, and then live with resenting yourself for allowing yourself to become everybody's doormat. Basically, there is no not hard. It's choose what kind of hard that you're willing to face. You have to live with you, and that is a long time. The third way I've found super helpful for figuring out my values is the reflection game. You gotta play it. It's basically you go around and observe, watch other people, situations, circumstances, environments. Like a science experiment, you look for patterns as to what triggers you or what inspires you, what you respect, and what ticks you off. For example, if you notice that when you go hiking and you keep seeing people dumping their trash or their rubbish or dropping their litter on the side of a hiking trail and it ticks you off, and you noticed every time people do it when you go out hiking, then that's a clear indication you have a value around that. That value could be things like respecting the environment, taking personal accountability, valuing hygiene and cleanliness, being a good community member and role model, valuing collectively taking care of our spaces. You can also play the game by observing people. Maybe you notice when people are in their own social circles, there's always that one person who seems to be not really interested and genuine about their involvement with others. They don't really care. You might notice somebody on the side who seems way too concerned about their appearance. It's realizing by observation, you're playing that reflection game. One thing I've noticed with observing other people and their behavior is that I want to surround myself with genuine, honest people. So that means people who love me and not love how fancy I can be. There is a stability and a beauty and a quality about people who will show up and love you, and it's not about because of how much they can get from you. It's like the millionaires who live under the radar. They're just out there wearing polo shirts. They're not out there trying to look wealthy, because it's so much easier. This is another example. It was so much easier for me to remove my qualification as a lawyer or having a law degree off my CV sometimes when I was applying for jobs. But it was also helpful to not even mention what I used to do in a prior career when I'm going for a job, because people treat you differently. And I didn't like that people somehow became less genuine, thinking they needed to impress me because they had some kind of perception about what being a lawyer was. Because ultimately, all behavior makes sense with enough information. We often don't understand people's behavior because we don't know their history. We don't know why people behave a certain way. So observing people and playing the reflection game is a great way of understanding your own values. The adventurous thing is you might actually find you start having a bit of an identity crisis. Like, who am I? What do I stand for? Why was I believing what I believed? Whose values were they? Why did I keep having those? And that's all part of it. That is normal. You might even have 5 of those in a week. It's just a crunchy process. It's a phase, and the seas will become calmer and you become more clear about what you stand for and what your values are. Those are the 3 ways that I found most helpful in figuring out my life values, and I hope you get something out of it too. And if you do find them helpful, I'll be celebrating for you. Feel free to share your own insights about what you found helpful, or maybe you find another tool useful and you're able to share so it might help somebody else in our community here. This is ultimately what it's all about, and it gives me great pleasure to be able to help answer any questions or help anyone else, and your comments are always so uplifting and fun, and I really appreciate you being here.